What do you mean the whole shift skipped lunch? Warren Jennings stared at the report, his jaw tightening. It was the third complaint this month from the same warehouse location, 7 of 10. The company was a chain of fulfillment centers spread across the state, and this one in particular had been inherited by Warren 5 years ago from his late father. Warren had kept most of the original staff, trusting the managers to run things smoothly. But lately, complaints had been creeping in missed breaks, high turnover, and unusually low morale. He'd tried asking the warehouse manager, but the guy just blamed staffing shortages. "People don't want to work anymore," he said. Warren didn't buy it. Something felt off, so he made a decision. "Set me up as a temp packer," he told his assistant. "No cameras, no special treatment, just a fake name and a badge." "Sir, they won't recognize you," Warren shook his head. "I've never met the floor staff. My dad hired most of them before I took over. And with the beard, glasses, and the 20 extra pounds I've put on since college, I'll blend in." 2 days later, Warren walked into Warehouse 7 as Kyle, a new temp. Hoodie, steel toe boots, and a fake onboarding packet. No one batted an eye. The place was big rows of shelves stacked high, forklifts buzzing, music faintly playing from a crackling speaker. He was paired with a woman named Zoe Zimmerman, a fast-moving worker with a tired smile and a bandaged wrist. "New guy, huh?" she said, adjusting her wrist brace. "Stick with me. I'll keep you from getting flattened." "Appreciate it," Warren said, falling in step beside her. For the first few hours, things seemed fine. Fast-paced but manageable. Until around noon, when Warren noticed something strange. Zoe glanced at the clock and then at the lead hand pacing near the break room entrance, tall, lean guy with a shaved head and a clipboard tucked under his arm. His name tag said Travis. "Hey," Warren said to Zoe, "aren't we supposed to get a lunch break?" She hesitated. "Yeah, but..." "Travis says we're behind, says we'll make it up later." Warren frowned. "Can he do that?" "Technically, no, but if you clock out for lunch, he'll write you up for abandoning shift." She said it low, eyes scanning to make sure no one heard. "Most of us just skip it." Warren watched as a few workers tried to head toward the break room, only to get a sharp headshake from Travis. One guy, probably in his 40s, muttered something under his breath and turned back to the line. Travis barked, "We're not stopping until after the 2 o'clock truck loads. You want to eat, do it on your own time." Warren clenched his jaw. That was illegal, and more than that, it was cruel. He kept working, biting his tongue, watching. Zoe's hands moved fast, but her face was pale. Around 1:30, she winced and dropped a small box. "You okay?" Warren asked. "Yeah, just lightheaded. I haven't eaten since last night." That did it. Warren stepped back and looked at Travis. "Hey man, when's break?" Travis's eyes narrowed. "When I say it is." "You got a problem?" "Actually, yeah. You're making people skip federally mandated breaks. That's a problem." Travis walked up to him, chest puffed. "You think you know how this place runs? You some kind of labor lawyer?" "No," Warren said. "I own this place." The silence hit hard. A few workers looked up, confused. Travis blinked. "What?" Warren pulled the fake badge off and dropped it. "My name is Warren Jennings. I'm the CEO. You've been making people skip breaks for weeks, haven't you?" Travis stammered. I was told to keep production up." "We've been short-staffed." "Why are you short-staffed? People keep quitting. They can't handle..." He stopped. Zoe stepped forward, voice shaking but steady. "They quit because of him. People cry in the locker room. He threatens to cut hours if we speak up." Warren turned to her. "And no one reported this." "We tried," she said, eyes glassy. "But the manager just says Travis knows best." The warehouse manager, a man named Dean, had just entered the floor. He looked between Warren and Travis, confused. "What's going on?" Warren didn't yell. He just pointed at Zoe. "She hasn't eaten in over 12 hours, and you let that happen." Dean's face paled. Warren turned to the room. "Everyone, full break, now, paid, go." No one moved. He raised his voice. "You heard me, go." Zoe hesitated. "Is this real?" "Yes." She nodded and slowly walked toward the break room. Others followed, glancing back like they expected it to be a trap. Warren watched them go, then turned back to Dean. "We're going to have a long conversation, but first, Travis, you're done. Hand in your badge. You're fired." "Right now?" Travis looked like he wanted to argue, but one look at Warren shut him up. He threw his badge on the floor and stormed off. Warren exhaled, heart pounding. He hadn't come here expecting this, but now he knew the truth and it was worse than he thought. The break room buzzed with a strange tension, part disbelief, part cautious relief. Most of the workers sat quietly, picking at sandwiches or sipping from thermoses, stealing glances at the man who just appended their routine. Warren stood near the vending machine, arms crossed, observing. The room wasn't large, maybe enough for 20 people, though it had clearly been forced to accommodate twice that in recent months. No one spoke until Zoe, seated at the far end, looked up and asked, "So, what happens now?" Warren walked over, pulled out a folding chair and sat across from her. "First, I need the truth, all of it, not just from you, from anyone who's willing to speak. I can't fix what I don't know." A man near the microwave gave a dry laugh. "Where do you want us to start? The broken conveyor belts, the mold in the back bathrooms? Or the fact that we're down 6 people and still hitting the same quotas?" Warren turned to him. "What's your name?" "Lewis." "You've been here long?" 3 years. "Longer than most, not by choice. My second job dried up last year." Warren nodded slowly. "Tell me about Dean." "The warehouse manager. Does he know what Travis was doing?" Lewis leaned back. "He sees everything, pretends he doesn't. Travis covered for him whenever corporate called, said the numbers were stellar, morale was high, all that nonsense." "They were tight." A woman sitting 2 seats down from Lewis added, "Dean's never on the floor unless someone from corporate is due to visit. Then he walks around like he's in charge of a hospital wing clean shirt, clipboard, fake questions." Zoe looked over. "Remember how he told us to hide the broken pallet jack when that inspector came last month?" Warren narrowed his gaze. "What inspector?" "Safety check," Lewis said. "Dean stalled him in the office for 20 minutes while we moved anything busted out of sight. Said it was a temporary equipment rotation." Warren stood and ran a hand down his face. "All right, I've heard enough for now. I need to speak with Dean, alone." The room fell silent again. As Warren stepped out, he passed the time clock, where a young man with a mop leaned on the handle, eyeing him with curiosity. "You're the boss, right?" the kid asked. "I am. You gonna fire Dean too?" Warren paused. "We'll see." Back on the warehouse floor, Dean was by the supervisor's station, pretending to sort through a clipboard. He straightened the moment Warren approached. "Mr. Jennings," he said, trying for a friendly tone. "I didn't realize you were planning a visit." "You didn't realize a lot of things, apparently." Warren motioned toward the empty floor. "Let's talk, office, now." Dean hesitated. "Of course." Inside the office, Warren shut the door and lowered the blinds. The room was sterile, bare walls, a dusty fan, a whiteboard filled with shift schedules. A half-eaten sandwich sat next to a stack of unread policy memos. Warren didn't sit. You knew Travis was denying breaks. Dean opened his mouth, but Warren didn't give him the chance. "Don't lie to me." "I've already spoken to half the team. They told me about the write-ups, the threats, the falsified logs." Dean's jaw twitched. "Look, he went too far, I'll admit that, but we've been in a tough spot. Corporate expectations haven't eased up and we've been short-staffed for months." "Why didn't you report that?" "I did. The regional office said to find efficiencies. Travis was my efficiency." "So you let him bully your staff and violate labor laws." "I kept the line moving," Dean said. "That's what matters at the end of the day." Warren stared at him for a long moment. "You're fired." Dean's face went blank. "You can't be serious." "I'm dead serious, and don't bother trying to appeal it. Your badge, keys, and company phone, leave them on the desk." Dean stood, chest rising and falling faster now. "You think you're doing them a favor? You'll lose half your output by the end of the week." "I'd rather lose output than lose my integrity." Dean slammed the keys down and stormed out. Warren took a breath, then reached for the phone. "Get me HR," he said as soon as the line connected. "I need a replacement manager in Warehouse 7 immediately, someone from outside this building. And I want a full audit of all shift records, labor logs, and incident reports from the last 6 months. Send a team tonight." After hanging up, he made his way back onto the floor. The workers were returning now, more subdued than before, but moving with a new kind of energy, a cautious one. Zoe approached, carrying a clipboard. "We can't stop the entire shift," she said quietly. "We still have 2 trucks coming in." "I know," Warren said. "We'll cover it, but not at the cost of your health." Lewis jogged up, adjusting his gloves. "You really can both of them." "They're gone," Warren said. And they're not coming back. Zoe glanced around. So, who's in charge now? No one for the next hour, just me. I'll coordinate the dock. Zoe, you're leading the pick line. Lewis, can you keep things moving near the loading bay? Lewis blinked. You want us to lead. You already have been. I'm just making it official. They nodded and split off. Warren stepped behind the nearest workstation and scanned a barcode. He didn't know the system perfectly, but he knew enough to keep pace. An older woman with silver hair and a slight limp came over and raised an eyebrow. You're really working the line, unless you'd rather me stand in your way. She gave a small laugh. Name's Carla. Been here since your dad ran things. He'd be disgusted with what this place became. I'm here to fix it. Well, she said, picking up a box, about time. By late afternoon, the pace had steadied. With Warren jumping between stations and the team working in unison, the two trucks were loaded barely but on time. No one yelled, no one skipped meals, and no one cried in the locker room. At 5 sharp, Warren gathered the entire team near the loading dock. The air smelled of cardboard and sweat, but for the first time the tension had lifted. I'm not going to pretend this place is fixed, Warren said, but we've taken the first step. Tomorrow there'll be a new interim manager, a real one. And I'm hiring new staff to bring the workload back to something reasonable. He looked around. You've all kept this place running for months without support. That changes now. Anyone who wants to share feedback privately or publicly can speak with me directly. No retaliation. Ever? Someone in the back raised a hand. Does this mean we're getting paid for the missed breaks from before? Yes, retroactive pay is being calculated as we speak. You'll see it in your next check. A few people clapped. Warren didn't stop them. As the crowd dispersed, Zoe lingered by the dock door. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. She looked at him, then nodded once. Then you've got a warehouse behind you. Warren watched the team clock out. They were tired, but not defeated, not anymore. He stayed behind, sweeping the floor by hand, thinking about how close he'd come to never knowing the truth. Then he took out his phone and dialed his assistant. Going forward, he said, I want a rotating schedule. Every month I spend 1 day at a different facility. No suits, no entourage. Just me and the floor team. There was a pause on the line. Understood, his assistant said. Anything else? Yes, schedule a meeting with the regional office. We need to talk about what they've been ignoring. Warren hung up and leaned against the mop handle. Tomorrow would be harder than today. But at least now, he was finally seeing the company he owned. For the first time, he understood what it meant to lead with his eyes open. The next morning started cold and gray. A thin mist clung to the loading dock as the crew shuffled in, jackets zipped tight, eyes scanning for signs of change. Warren arrived early again, no disguise this time. He stood by the main entrance, quietly greeting each employee by name as they clocked in. Most gave him a quick nod, still unsure how long this new version of leadership would last. Inside, the warehouse felt different, not better, just quieter. The absence of Travis's barked orders left a hollow space. Without Dean's clipboard theatrics, the supervisor's station sat unmanned. But the real shift was in how the workers moved, deliberate, cautious, like they were waiting for the other shoe to drop. By 8, the interim manager arrived. Her name was Evelyn Marks, a seasoned logistics operator from the company's northern branch. Mid-40s, sharp-eyed and blunt in the way only someone who'd done the work herself could be. She didn't bring a speech, just walked the floor with Warren, clipboard tucked under one arm, jotting notes with quick, clipped motions. Line 3's short-staffed, she said. Pallet 3's tipping. And your inventory scanner software is 2 versions behind. We'll fix it, Warren said. She gave him a look. This place has been bleeding out quietly for a while. You sure you're ready to stop it? I wasn't before. I am now. They passed Zoe near the conveyor, her wrist now wrapped with a proper brace from the company medic. She caught Warren's eye. Got a second? He nodded and followed her behind a stack of sealed crates out of earshot. There's something I didn't say yesterday. I'm listening. It's about the new hires or lack of them. She shifted, eyes flicking to the side. We've had people come in for orientation. A lot, actually, but they don't stay. Why not? Travis used to haze them. Told them they'd never make rate, made up stories about back injuries being grounds for termination. One guy quit before lunch. Another kid left crying after being called dead weight in front of the whole shift. Warren felt his jaw tighten. How recent? Last one was last week. A woman named Ashanti. She was fast, real fast, but Travis didn't like her, said she talked too much. Next day, she was gone. Did anyone report it? We didn't know what happened until she didn't show up. Word was Travis told her she wasn't a fit and had her walked out. Warren looked toward the office. We have her contact info, HR should, but if you want to talk to someone who saw it, check with Elijah on line 2. He trained with her. Warren walked off without another word. Elijah was tall, lean, and barely out of high school. He worked fast but mechanically, like he was conserving energy for something more important later. When Warren approached, he kept moving, eyes on the scanner. I heard you trained with Ashanti last week. He nodded, not breaking rhythm. She was good, better than me, honestly. Why'd she leave? She didn't. She was pushed. Warren waited. She made a joke about the music, said it sounded like someone's dad made the playlist. Travis didn't like that. Told her if she didn't respect the culture, she could go find another warehouse. Warren didn't speak, just took a slow breath. She tried to stay out of his way, Elijah continued. Worked harder than anyone, but he kept riding her. Said she talked ghetto and wasn't professional. Next thing I know, she's gone. Warren nodded once. Thank you. If anyone asks, this conversation didn't happen. He walked straight to Evelyn by the supervisor's station. Get me HR, I want Ashanti's file pulled now. Find out who processed her termination and under what reason. Evelyn didn't ask questions. She pulled out her phone and made the call. 30 minutes later, Warren stood in the back office with the HR rep on speaker. The system shows she was marked as voluntary resignation, the rep said. No exit interview. Who submitted it? Travis. Warren's voice was flat. He's already been terminated. I want her reinstated, offered full back pay from her hire date and a personal phone call from me. If she accepts, we put her on the morning shift under Evelyn's supervision. If she declines, we still pay her. I'll make it happen. Warren hung up and turned to Evelyn. We're not just fixing what's broken, we're repairing what was stolen. Evelyn gave a short nod, then tapped her clipboard. I've got a list of crew who have been picking up double shifts. They're burning out. We need temps and we need them now. Pull from the central pool, Warren said, and double the referral bonus. Anyone here who brings in a new hire that stays for 30 days gets it. But they have to be vetted by someone besides the floor leads. I'll handle it. By noon, the warehouse was humming again. Not smooth, not efficient, but steady. Warren took his lunch standing against the wall near the break room, chewing a sandwich while watching Zoe teach a new temp how to angle boxes on the packing belt. Hey. Evelyn joined him, her own lunch untouched in her hand. 2 of the forklifts are past due on their maintenance. I'll approve the service contracts. Anything else? She hesitated. There's a guy, name's Randall, older, works in inbound. He's not pulling weight. Why? That's what I wanted to find out. Talk to him. Turns out no one trained him. They dumped him at the dock and told him to watch and copy. He's been guessing. Warren pushed off the wall. Where is he now? Bay 5. They found Randall near the dock doors, struggling to align a pallet with the scanner. His hands shook slightly with each movement. Mid-50s, weathered eyes darting between controls, Warren stepped up beside him. You've been here how long? 2 weeks, Randall said without turning. Still trying to get the hang of it. Who trained you? Didn't get a name. Just a guy who said to keep up or get out. He was gone by day 2. Evelyn stepped in. You're not in trouble, but we're going to get you proper training. Randall looked between them, wary. Why? Because you came here to work, Warren said. And we failed you. Randall nodded slowly, like he wasn't sure if it was a trick. Warren turned to Evelyn. Pair him with Carla from line 4. She's got the patience and he'll respect her. Done. The rest of the shift continued without incident. At 4, a black sedan pulled up to the lot. Ashanti stepped out, shoulders tense, eyes scanning the building like it might disappear. Warren met her at the door. I'm not coming back to be insulted, she said before he could speak. You won't be. Travis is gone. Dean too. And if anyone else crosses that line, they'll be gone before their shift ends. She studied him. You're the owner, I am, and I'm sorry. You deserved better. She didn't respond, but she walked inside. Warren watched her take a badge from Evelyn, strap on gloves, and head toward the picking line like she'd never left. By the end of the day, Warren stood in the center of the warehouse, the hum of equipment slowing as the shift wound down. He looked around not at the machinery, but at the people. Faces he now knew, voices he'd listened to, stories he hadn't wanted to hear but needed to. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like he was running a company. He felt like he was building one. By the end of the week, the warehouse had stabilized, but Warren knew the changes were still shallow. The systems that allowed abuse weren't just about who held the clipboard, they were baked into the silence, the exhaustion, the belief that no one above was listening. That would take more than one visit to fix. At 6:30 on Monday morning, he returned, this time without announcing it to anyone, not even Evelyn. He didn't head to the office. He walked straight to the back corridors where the clock in lines stretched long, and the lockers rattled as people changed into gear. He stood near the far wall, arms crossed, watching. A man dropped his duffel with a sigh and leaned against the locker beside him. His face was lined, probably in his early 60s. His uniform was clean, but the fabric had thinned at the elbows. "You knew?" the man asked without looking over. "Not exactly." The man offered a half nod. "Didn't think so, you've got that look." Warren turned toward him. "What look?" "The one that says you're not here to stay." Warren didn't answer. "I've seen 30 managers come through here, some bark orders, some hide in the office. None of them last. You want to fix this place, don't just clean up the mess, change the floor rules." Warren extended a hand. "Warren." The man looked down at it, then shook. "Tarek." When Warren stepped onto the floor 10 minutes later, Evelyn caught sight of him and walked over, clipboard tucked under her arm. "You planning to make this a habit?" she asked. "Yes." "Good." They moved together toward the staging area. One pallet had collapsed, overnight plastic wrap torn, half the boxes dented. A young worker named Maya was carefully restacking them. Her knuckles were raw and the skin on her thumb was split. Evelyn crouched down beside her. "Why wasn't this reported last night?" Maya looked up, startled. "I told the evening lead. He said it wasn't urgent." "Who?" "Brent." Warren stood. "Where is he now?" "Dock 9, Evelyn said. "He's supposed to be briefing the truck team." They found Brent leaning on a railing, coffee in hand, chatting with another supervisor. He didn't stop talking when he saw them approach. "You're late on the dock brief," Evelyn said without preamble. Brent glanced at his watch. "It's 5 minutes. You ignored a damaged pallet report last night." She didn't fill a form, just pointed at it. "I figured the morning crew would sort it." Warren stepped forward. "So you left it for someone else without logging it?" Brent looked up, annoyed now. "Look, it's not a big deal. Happens all the time." "Not anymore." Brent blinked. "Excuse me, you're done," Warren said, voice even. "Turn in your badge now." Brent's mouth opened, but no words came out. Evelyn held out her hand. He dropped the badge into it, muttered something under his breath, and walked off. Evelyn shook her head. "That's the third lead we've had to remove in 2 weeks. I'd rather rebuild from the ground than keep patching rot," Warren said. They walked back toward the central aisle. Zoe was organizing outbound tickets with a few other workers. She looked up, then gestured him over. "We've got an issue with the Saturday shifts," she said. "The rotation system still isn't fair. Same people keep getting stuck with the worst hours. Who's assigning them? Still automated. But the evening managers have been overriding it. Show me the overrides." She led him to the terminal. A quick login, a few clicks, and there it was. Dozens of shift swaps, all pushed to the same 4 workers. The names repeated: Tarek, Carla, Elijah, and Maya. Warren examined the timestamps. The overrides were processed late at night, long after the shift leads had gone home. "Who has access to these controls after hours?" he asked. Zoe hesitated. "Only the night supervisor." "What's his name?" "Carlos." Warren looked at Evelyn. "Where is he now?" "Should be home. He clocks out at 4 a.m. Want me to pull his login records?" "Do it." "And freeze his admin access." Within an hour, the IT logs confirmed it. Carlos had been manipulating the schedule to keep weekends free for his preferred team, assigning the toughest shifts to the same handful of workers over and over. Warren didn't wait. He called Carlos directly. "This is Warren Jennings. As of this moment, you're no longer employed here. Your access has been revoked. HR will follow up with your final paperwork." Carlos didn't argue. He hung up. Warren turned to Evelyn. We're replacing the scheduling system. No more manual overrides. Make the schedules visible to everyone on the team and add a rotation tracker. If someone's been assigned 3 weekends in a row, the system flags it. Understood. By noon, word had spread. The tension on the floor began to shift again, not into celebration, but something more grounded. Controlled, the silence wasn't fear anymore. It was focus. Warren gathered the full staff in the loading bay just before second shift began. He stood atop a low platform, Evelyn beside him. I've spent the last 2 weeks trying to understand how this place became so broken, he said. It wasn't just bad leadership. It was a lack of accountability. A system that rewarded silence and punished honesty. He looked around. Faces watched him, some skeptical, some cautiously hopeful. That ends now. From this point forward, any worker can submit a concern directly through a new reporting line. Not to a supervisor, not to a manager, to me, anonymously if you prefer. I will read everyone. A hand went up near the back. It was Carla. That's a lot of promises, she said. What makes this different? Warren nodded. You're right to doubt me, so here's the first proof. Everyone who was forced to skip breaks over the last 3 months is getting paid out, today. Gasps rippled through the crowd. And second, he continued, we're creating a floor council. 5 workers elected by you. They'll meet with me monthly. No managers allowed in those meetings. You set the agenda. That silenced the room. Lewis stepped forward. And if someone retaliates for speaking up, they're gone. Immediately, the crowd didn't cheer. They didn't clap. But they stood a little taller, and they nodded. After the meeting, Warren returned to the floor. He didn't go to the office. He picked up a scanner and moved to line 4 beside Ashanti. She didn't say anything for a while, just handed him a label and pointed to the right bin. Eventually, she said, you know, most people in your position wouldn't come back. I didn't want to be most people. She nodded once. Then don't stop now. Warren stayed for the rest of the shift, helping where he could, learning what he didn't know. When he finally left the building at dusk, his shirt was damp with sweat and his back ached. But when he stepped outside and saw the crew gathered in the lot talking, laughing, not rushing to their cars like they were escaping something, he knew the change was real, not flashy, not fast, but real. And this time it would last.